Okay. Okay, so we'll start the case discussion. There is 34-year-old man presented with following complaint: fever which is high grade, along with chills and tiger, cough with greenish sputum production, and chest pain on the left side. On examination, patient is oriented in time, place, and person, and he is hyperventilating with respiratory rate of 40 per minute, and temperature is 102 degrees Celsius. On percussion, his left lower chest appears dull and there is increase in tactile chemicals. Upon auscultation, vocal resonance is increased on the left lower part of the chest and bronchial breath sounds are heard in that area. So, what investigation should be carried out and what other relevant history and what possible diagnosis should be kept in mind? Okay, so please reply. What investigation should be carried out in this case? Did you all hear the case? Prasan, am I audible? Okay, so the investigations to be ordered are: as the history points towards the lung involvement, chest X-ray, pH, BA should be done, and also the complete blood count, biochemical test, and sputum culture should be done. Now, in the above case, the chest X-ray revealed the left lower lobe consolidation, and TLC count is 70,500 and with 90% neutrophils. LFT and KFT were unremarkable. On sputum culture, it is positive for Streptococcus pneumoniae. Okay, any other history to be asked in this case? I can't see your answers. Am I audible? Okay, allergy history, sputum culture, sent for culture. Okay, family history, pulmonary function test, chest X-ray. Anmol, can you see case now? You can read case once more. history of smoking, family, smoking history, previous surgery, hospital stay, history of transplant, history of cancer therapy, history of stelectomy. Okay, so we'll move forward. Any other history to be asked? First, we'll ask the duration of the disease, any smoking history, any alcohol intake history, history of wheezing, history of weight loss, history of allergy. Why are we asking for the duration of the disease? It, disease pulmonary edema. History of wheezing, we are asking for basically in asthma cases. Weight loss, why do we take history of weight loss? Okay, TB lung, cancer, yes. History of allergy, asthma. Okay. Any differential you guys can think of on the basis of history? Any differential? Guys, reply. Bronchiectasis, okay. Any other? Pleural effusion. Any other differential? That is it. Pneumonia, yes. Any other differential? Okay. So these are the differentials. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, asthma, pneumonia, pulmonary edema, bronchiectasis, URTI, lung cancer, and pulmonary emboli. Okay, so in chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, its name itself implies it is a chronic disease. And asthma, there will be history of allergy. Okay, and in this case, there is no history of allergy, so this cannot be asthma. In pulmonary edema, on chest X-ray, the pleural effusion will be seen, and here in case there is no such finding seen, while in bronchiectasis, the vesicular sign, vesicular normal vesicular breath sounds are like heard, while in this case bronchial breath sounds are heard in this case. Okay, why and in upper respiratory tract infection, the upper respiratory tract is involved, your upper airway. In lung cancer, there will be history of weight loss also. In pulmonary emboli, similarly, this also cannot be pulmonary emboli. So finally, we come to the reach to the diagnosis of pneumonia. Okay, this is the case of lobar pneumonia. What is lobar pneumonia? It is a condition where consolidation occurs in a large portion of a lobe or an entire lobe of lung. How do we classify pneumonia? On what basis do we classify pneumonia? Typical and atypical. Okay. Lobar broncho. Any other areas involved? Okay. Basis of the microbial organisms. Okay. And type of cough produced. Okay. Community acquired, hospital acquired. Okay. Okay. I am not included in this, the typical and atypical. That also comes in the classification. So here is this anatomical classification, lobar broncho and interstitial pneumonia. On the basis of etiology, it can be either bacterial, viral, or mycoplasma pneumonia. On the basis of acquiring pneumonia, it can be either community acquired, hospital acquired, healthcare associated, and pneumonia in the compromised host. And on the clinical classification, can be either acute or chronic. Now coming to the gross features of lobar and bronchopneumonia. In lobar, either one or two or both the lobes of the lung are involved in lobar pneumonia. You can see in the lobar pneumonia, and while the bronchopneumonia there is patchy distribution. Okay, it is not very nicely appreciable. You all can see in practical pathology, practical lab, whenever you have class. Okay, so we'll show you in class. Now coming to the microscopic feature findings in lobar and bronchopneumonia. Okay, here we can see the alveoli are filled with the red cells and neutrophilic infiltration. And first one is the low power and second one is the on the high power. And we cannot differentiate on the microscopy. So these are the pictures which are the slides which are in our lab. Now, what are the clinical features of pneumonia? Cough, it can be either productive or dry. There can be chest pain, fever, difficulty in breathing. What are the pathological stages of pneumonia? Congestion. Next is red hepatization. Gray hepatization and then comes the resolution. Okay. So in first stage congestion, there occurs the vascular engorgement and intraalveolar edema. The lung becomes heavy, bulky, and red in color. While in red hepatization, there occurs the massive central exudation. As the neutrophils and red cells and fibrin fill the alveolar spaces, the lobe becomes red and warm and airless with a liver-like consistency. And in gray hepatization, there occurs the progressive disintegration of red cells and the persistence of fibroseparative exudate, which results in color change from red to grayish brown. While the resolution, the exudate within the alveolar space is resolved by enzymatic digestion of inflammatory debris. Okay, now what are the complications of pneumonia? What are the complications of empyema? Any other complication? Obstruction, lung abscess, any other? It can extend in lung more. Okay. Any other? Bacterial dissemination, endocarditis, meningitis, sepsis. Cor pulmonale. Okay. So here are a few of the complications of pneumonia. Septicemia can occur, lung abscess, acute respiratory distress syndrome, parapneumonic effusion, hypertension, empyema, respiratory failure, endocarditis, pericarditis. Okay. So now we'll move on to the second case. There's a 43-year-old woman who is a non-smoker. She has symptoms of chronic cough, progressive dyspnea on exertion, and purulent sputum on and off for more than 5 years. There is no history of any other comorbidity. Chest X-ray reveals increased bilateral lower lung infiltration and ring shadows. On CT chest, it displayed uniform caliber, parallel thickening bronchial walls, which shows the Tremprac sign and dilated bronchi. Which possible diagnosis you all can think of in this case? TB, bronchiectasis, bronchiectasis, emphysema. Why emphysema? See, on CT, there is a very characteristic finding which we only see in bronchiectasis. Okay, so this case diagnosis is bronchiectasis. Now we'll be discussing bronchiectasis under the following headings. First, definition, etiology, pathology, and clinical presentation, the gross and microscopic features also. Bronchiectasis is a condition anatomically defined by chronic irreversible dilatation and distortion of the bronchi caused by inflammatory destruction of muscular and elastic components of the bronchial wall. Okay, now coming to the etiology. It can be either post-infection, post-TB, post-bacterial pneumonia, post-pertussis, post-measles, post-influenza, and if there is any proximal airway obstruction due to any foreign body or any tumor or due to the middle lobe syndrome. Middle lobe syndrome is the extensive compression and enlarged lymph nodes of the right middle lobe of lung that obstruct the bronchi and lead to right middle lobe atelectasis and recurrent infection. Okay, and it can also be due to the abnormal host defense which occurs in severe dyskinesia, humoral immunodeficiency, and in genetic disorders like cystic fibrosis and alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. Now coming to the pathogenesis. It is the consequence of inflammatory and destruction of structural components of the bronchial tree, mainly mid-sized airway, segmental and subsegmental bronchi. Now first, infection occurs with the microorganisms such as Staph aureus, then proteases and other toxins are released, which causes the upregulation of neutrophils, which cause the destruction of wall structures of like cartilage, muscle, elastic tissue, and it is replaced by fibrous connective tissue. Then there occurs the dilatation of the bronchi, which leads to the accumulation of thick pool of purulent material under occlusion due to the fibrous thickening. And also there occurs increased vascularity due to the enlargement of the bronchial arteries and increased anastomosis between bronchial artery and pulmonary artery. Now coming to the clinical features of bronchiectasis, there is persistent and recurrent cough with purulent sputum production. Repeated respiratory tract infections can occur. Hemoptysis, symptoms like fatigue, weight loss, myalgia, and there can also be non-productive cough in some cases, which is known as dry bronchiectasis or bronchiectasis cough. Dyspnea occurs in more than 2/3 of the cases. There can also occur wheezing and pruritic chest pain in some patients. On gross of the bronchiectasis, there will be markedly distinctive peripheral bronchi, usually in the lower lobe. The area may be dilated to as much the 4 times of their usual diameter. and it can also trace up to the pleural surface. The bronchial walls are irregularly thickened and it has various morphological types: cylindrical, varicose, and cystic. Now coming to the gross or the bronchiectasis. In this lung specimen, you all can see the dilated bronchi and bronchioles of the lung. Okay, I guess it is very well appreciable. You all can see there are two specimens here. In one, there is also lung mass is also seen. I'm just trying to show you the bronchiectasis part, the dilated bronchi and bronchioles. Okay. Now coming to the microscopy. Okay, microscopy findings vary with the activity and chronicity of the disease. In active cases, an intense acute and chronic inflammatory exudate within the walls of bronchi and bronchioles lead to desquamation of the lining epithelium and extensive areas of ulceration. In healing cases, the lining epithelium may regenerate completely. However, the injury usually cannot be repaired, and abdominal dilatation and scarring persists. In chronic cases, the fibrosis of the bronchial and bronchial walls in peribronchial fibrosis develop. In microscopy, you can see the dilated bronchi and bronchioles on the lower part and the high part. You can see the empty space here. This is dilated bronchi. How severe bronchiectasis could be? In past, it was defined according to the amount of the sputum production less than 10 ml. It was called as mild, 100 to 150 ml of sputum. Moderate, more than 150, severe. Now it is classified according to the radiological findings. Now moving to another case. There is an 8-year-old girl presents with dyspnea, cough and expectoration, worsening at night and wheezing. She has very few symptoms during the winter, but in spring, when her allergies are severe, she at least has to visit 3 times to the doctor. What is the possible diagnosis in this case? Asthma. Yes, this is asthma. For the gross features of asthma, the lungs are overinflated and contain small areas of atelectasis. And also there occurs the occlusion of bronchi and bronchioles with thick tenacious mucus plugs. What are the microscopic features of asthma? Hyperphagia, smooth muscle hyperphagia, okay. Eosinophilia, smooth muscle hypertrophy, increased goblet cells, narrow lumen, some mucosal gland, inflammatory infiltrate, inflammation. Okay. Okay, so these are the microscopic features of asthma. There occurs a thickening of airway wall, Kirschmann spirals, eosinophilia and Charcot-Leydig crystals, hypertrophy and hyperplasia of the bronchial wall muscle with increased intercellular matrix. There occurs increase in size of submucosal glands and number of airway goblet cells. Also occurs the subbasement membrane fibrosis. Now moving on to the other case. There is a 65-year-old man with a 60-year history of cigarette smoking. Presents with worsening exertional dyspnea. Pulmonary function test showed significant restrictive lung disease, and his complete metabolic profile and CBC were normal. HRCT showed evidence of pulmonary fibrosis. What is the diagnosis in this case? Okay, emphysema. Any other? Any other diagnosis? Differential? Interstitial fibrosis. Okay, fibrosis is mentioned in history only. COPD, yes. Okay, somebody is asked that like why the symptoms are worsened at night of asthma. Like there is no exact reason of this uh, symptom. Like during sleep, the patient has like worsening of symptoms, but there is no exact reason why does this occur. There just occurs a cooling of airway in the reclining position. We can say this. So in this case, the diagnosis is COPD with concomitant idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. What is COPD? COPD is defined as it is a preventable and treatable disease characterized by persistent respiratory symptoms and airflow limitation that is due to the airway or alveolar abnormalities caused by exposure to noxious particles or gases. And it includes two disorders, the emphysema and chronic bronchitis. They usually occur together in patients of COPD. Now moving on to the emphysema, it is defined as irreversible enlargement of air spaces distal to terminal bronchiole accompanied by destruction of their walls. There are four main types, major types of emphysema: centriasinus, parasinus, paraseptal, irregular, and age of presentation is around 50 years. Parasinus is associated with the alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. The patients of emphysema are called as the pink puffers. In these patients, their chest become barrel-shaped and they breathe very fast. So they are known as the pink puffers, and the lips also becomes very pinkish in color. In COPD, usually it follows the there's a mistake, follows centriasinal distribution. And tissue destruction is caused by elastases and oxidants released from inflammatory cells, particularly neutrophils, responding to cellular injury caused by tobacco, smoke, and pollutants. Coming to the chronic bronchitis, it is defined clinically as persistent cough with sputum production for at least 3 months in at least 2 consecutive years in the absence of any other identifiable cause. Most affected patients have a smoking history of 45 years or even more, and age of presentation is around 70 years. In emphysema, the age of presentation is around 50 years, here it is 70 years. Pathological features in chronic bronchitis are the mucus hypersecretion due to enlargement of mucus secreting glands and chronic inflammation, which is associated with bronchial wall fibrosis. So that is it. You want to ask any other question? First case. Fibrosis occur as sequelae. No, fibrosis did not occur as sequelae of COPD. It was the associated condition with COPD. Okay, the complication of COPD can be hypertension, any cardiovascular disease, and also it can progress to lung cancer also.